Hi, ladies. Okay, I want to talk to you a minute about something that I've kind of observed on this app, and it concerns me a little bit, because I think that there are a lot of learning opportunities that are just being missed. All right. One of the things I notice that people like to do is when they find someone who they disagree with on a topic, they don't want to have anything to do with that person. I don't like this person because they did this. And I don't want to hear nothing they have to say because they think about this in this way. Okay? The problem with that is that we are all multi-layered, all right, individuals, and that you will find people who have knowledge that you need that have aspects of their personality or their personal life that you do not like at all. And I will use an example from my own life, okay? Now, when I first started in the business that I am in, I was newly married. I was in my late 20s, and I worked with a bunch of gentlemen who were just flat out racist. They were World War II veterans. They were all discolored, and they didn't particularly like people who looked like me. But these gentlemen were the knowledge base of our business, okay? They had come out of the war, gotten these jobs and had been doing them for 30 years by the time I met them, okay? And so they were old, crotchety men, and they really were just gruff and rough around the edges, but they had a knowledge base that I had every intention of tapping into. Now, they never did anything overtly racist to me or said anything overtly racist to me. But of course, we can tell, right? So what I decided to do was I was going to tap into their knowledge base. And that means I was going to make them teach me what they knew. All right. At that time, my husband worked afternoon. So I didn't have any kids. I would come home from work and I didn't have anything else to do. So what I started doing was I would stay late because these two guys would sit. There were two, sometimes three of them. And what they would do is they would sit around after work and talk. And I would come down and to their department and I would bug the heck out of them. I would listen to their conversations, make notes, and ask questions that really just irritated them. And I didn't care, okay? Because I knew that they had the knowledge that I wanted. And over a period of time, I wore them down. And this is the kind of information that only comes with time. It's not written in any book. There was nothing available for me to learn the information that they had. Okay, I would either get it from them or I would never get it. Okay, and so for a year, 2 years, that's exactly what I did. Every day after work, I was there, bugging the crap out of them, asking them questions, listening to their stories. And I sucked up probably 10, 15 years worth of knowledge in 2 years because, those couple of hours in the evening when I was just going to go home and, do nothing anyway or go shopping, I gained knowledge about my field. Now, after that, I was able to move really quickly up in the business because I now had the knowledge of these two old guys. And I could not have learned that information so quickly without them. And I used that to my advantage. And a few years later, I changed jobs and made a bucket load of money compared to where I started. I started out in a minimum wage job, literally knowing nothing about my industry. And 5 years later, I was making well over $60,000. Now, this is back in the mid 80s. That was a lot of money back then. And typically, you couldn't get that far as a woman, certainly not as a minority, unless you knew a lot, because they weren't going to give you any extra information. They weren't going to give you anything over and above what you knew. But I blew them out of the water. I would leave that job, go to the next job, and make a lot of money, which allowed me a lot of autonomy because I was now able to make all this money. So I worked it to my advantage, even though I was getting my information from people I didn't like and that did not like me. And I kind of liken this to the story of diamonds being buried in a pile of crap. You look at it, it's a pile of crap. You don't want to go through it. But when you dig out some diamonds, that valuable thing that you can use to move your life forward, can you say it was worth it to dig out the diamonds? For my life, I can absolutely say yes. All right. Even today, that information serves me, and people still ask me, how do you know all this stuff? Even though I've been doing this, better than 30 years. Almost 40. I started before my son was born. He's 34. All right. Now, we have a saying for this. Eat the meat, spit out the bones. Do not let an opportunity pass you by because you are angry at the messenger. Do not let information pass you by because you don't like who's talking. All right? Yeah, I understand getting in your feelings, being emotional about something you do not like. But baby, when you extract that information, sometimes it is worth its weight in diamonds and gold. All right? Now, I'm not going to ask you to put up with craziness, but I am going to ask you to look past the things that don't serve you to get the things that do. All right? If a guy you don't like, a jerk you don't like, a racist, somebody who is not anybody who you would normally associate with is holding your diamonds in his hand, do you really want to walk away? I think it's a good question, and I think it's something you need to consider. Do not base your life off of what makes you comfortable and what you like, because sometimes the information, the knowledge you need is right before you, but you refuse to get it because you don't like who the messenger is. Think about it, ladies.